what are your thoughts on Spotify?
I like Spotify. I use Spotify.
Oh, really? So imagine this: you're on Spotify, and do you ever read the terms of service?
No, I don't read the terms of service.
Well, maybe you should, because independent audiobook authors are up in arms because the terms of service was pretty shitty for them.
Okay, what does that mean?
So basically, the terms of service gave Spotify a non exclusive, transferable, sub licensable, royalty free, fully paid, irrevocable worldwide license to reproduce, make available, perform, and display, translate, modify, create derivative works from things that you make. So, like, if you put your own original story or your voice or anything on Spotify, they were able to go and basically do whatever the heck they wanted to do with it.
Okay.
And this doesn't make you mad?
I don't.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
I was gonna say that we put our stuff on Spotify.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore.
I mean, they have like the old stuff, but not the newer stuff. So I am actually pretty upset because this basically feeds into all of the AI talks, all of the like fears of like AI taking over and stuff. This is what's being like fed into it. They're like, this is their agreement effectively says that they could probably take and sell your information, your stuff on to other companies that may or may not use it for AI development. And we'll continue this discussion after you consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button. We come out with interesting videos like this one daily. So if you like to keep up to date on interesting topics like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So this is pretty bad, and it's a black eye on Spotify for all intents and purposes. And as soon as all these authors and people started rising up on the only platform to use, X, formerly Twitter, they pulled it back. And they said, oh, like, we were wrong, da-da-da. But they didn't pull it back enough because apparently these services kind of remove protection, or not, they don't remove protections. They don't exclude podcasts. So they took away stuff about like the audiobooks and stuff like that. But things like derivative works like podcasts or like fan fiction or something like that, those would all be fair game for these AIs or for them to resell or make new creations. So what are your thoughts on that? To me, I'm like, I don't like the idea on face value. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah, I don't really like the idea of it. Like, the thing is that it is how they put it into the terms of service. I feel like it's very shady for them to be doing something like this. But at the same time, it's like a lot of people don't read the terms of service.
I think like I feel like it's upsetting because I felt like this verbiage, like they're not gonna read it. So let's just put it in there, and then all these people are gonna go and help us feed the algorithms and feed the AI, and then or we'll get to do whatever, and they won't know any better.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not a very good look for them to be doing this.
But I feel like it's kind of an insight as to where the industry is going, though. Like, they thought that they could do this, and this is Spotify, and this is not like a major movie corporation. I feel like movie corporations or movie studios are already trying to get these types of contracts in the works already.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I do think that a lot of people are trying to get these contracts in. It feels like Spotify was a little ahead of a lot of these other companies that's happening to. But again, I don't think this is a very good look for them, and I think that a lot of people are probably going to have second thoughts on putting their stuff on Spotify.
Yeah, so a lot of people that on Spotify have been, saying that they're not wanting to post on there anymore. I think the issue also becomes that, like, where else are you going to? Because Spotify is one of the largest places to put podcasts. Like, while there is like Apple Podcast and YouTube Podcast or YouTube, this regular videos, etc. it's not exactly Spotify, because like Spotify, is mostly known for its audiobooks, its podcasts, etc. So to not have your audiobook on Spotify would be pretty bad. But yeah, I think to me the generative work, like the fact that they could go make another book about your stuff would be pretty upsetting.
Yeah, it would be pretty upsetting. You had me thinking too that Spotify did have like a bunch of like exclusive contracts with a bunch of podcasters. It did have like it did buy like an audiobook company where it was able to put like some of the audiobooks on there. But people putting their stuff on Spotify and now potentially having all of their work being used and recreated through AI and using getting their work sold is for me it doesn't sit right. It doesn't seem. I think that other people would probably put their works on other platforms, and I do think that this is. I feel like for me, like as I mentioned before, it's like I'm the type of person that typically doesn't read the terms of service fully in a sense because like it's such a long document that a lot of people don't have the time just to go through and just sit there and be like, oh, do I want to use this service or do I not want to? Because most of the time it seems like people like are going to have to use the service because it's one of the most popular ones out there. Yeah.
So I think, it depends on the size of the creator. So if you're a small creator trying to get to a wider audience, Spotify would be the type of place to go because there's a lot of like eyes and ears on Spotify. So additionally, like I think this is a play towards AI and like being able to sell the data on there to AI companies. Another example would be like if you post anything onto Facebook or other outwardly facing website, AI or I guess website skimmers are able to kind of look at all the data and then harvest it to feed their algorithms. So I feel as though if you pretty much, I feel like if you post it anywhere, it's going to be pretty bad.
Okay, so you think about this and you think about like you mentioned with the rise of AI and the rise of work things like this type of terms of service in Spotify. I think that it's going to become more and more common in other places where where if you produce some creative type of work, it's most likely going to be used unless you have certain protections in place to protect your work from certain things. Like let's say you have like you protect your intellectual property and other things like that for your works, but even then it's like
it's very difficult because I know people have been trying to put anti-AI stuff or measures onto like their artwork, but that does not seem to be stopping, or I mean slowing it down, as in like it's not helping. But I feel like there's plenty of other artwork out there that are not using this type of like anti-AI measures that still gets in.
Yeah, it's and like I mentioned too, there's only a few players that you can actually upload your work to.
Yeah, so, to hope to even find like an audience.
Yeah, so you're like strong armed to some degree to be able to use these platforms because they're gonna say it's like, oh, okay, if you're not gonna use us, who else are you gonna use?
Go somewhere else then if you want.
Yeah, so it's very tough. Because the thing is that they could essentially do what they want and be like, oh yeah, it's like you have no choice but to go with us at this point. If you really want to make it big, because we have all these big people on here, we have all these big players. So it's like, yeah, you go somewhere else, but I think they think that they have the advantage because of the large platform that they have.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to bring up is that I think the fact that they could probably recreate your own voice. They can recreate your likeness type thing, your stories, like the characters in your stories, basically every single aspect of like the world you create. All that could be like taken away and then like either fed to AI or like they could use it for their own purposes to market Spotify or like make their own story that's similar to yours. Like, oh, like imagine if J.K. Rowling put like Harry Potter on there and it's like, oh, now we have this the new Harry Potter,
That'd be insane.
the Spotify version.
That'd be insane if they were able to do something like that.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd like to hear if you guys would put your stuff on Spotify knowing this would happen, or would that stop you? Because at this point, I'm like, it's really tough because who can you really trust in terms of that? I mean, like they're all out for your data. The data is so important right now to like train AI and stuff. So I mean, AI is causing Nvidia to go through the roof. So I'm like, I don't know how they can not try to jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.